Hello, I am 11Alive News senior investigative reporter Rebecca Lindstrom. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, safety isn't just about precaution. It is the foundation allowing us to thrive and survive. Over the next 30 minutes, we are showcasing our 11Alive News investigations focused on your safety. From recalled baby items being resold online to prosecutors sounding the alarm, saying they're not able to hold criminals accountable. This is 11Alive News Investigates. But first, dangerous and often deadly accidents that impact every driver on the road. They are called Underride crashes. And 11Alive News Investigates found they are not tracked in the state of Georgia and likely happening at rates 3 times higher than previously known.
That's Taraja.
Akili Ramses will probably never watch this story, even though she agreed to sit down for an interview. We warned her there would be images like this and this.
This is a big hole in our family. This is Lula.
She prefers to remember her son and grandchildren
Esme,
this way.
Ayoka, and Kisasi.
There was a total of 6 people in the car.
Was it October
31st. They were coming home from trick-or-treating.
Coming home when her son, movie stuntman Taraja Ramses, turned onto I-20 and slammed into a broken-down semi-truck. Taraja and 3 of his children were killed.
I'm sure he probably tried swerving. That's why the biggest impact was on his side.
Well, several factors contributed to the crash. Part of Taraja's vehicle ended up underneath the semi-truck, otherwise known as an underride accident. Had you ever heard the term underride before?
I didn't until you told me.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, says 630 people die in underride crashes each year. In 2022, the most recent year data is available, 12 underride crashes happened in Georgia. But 11Alive News Investigates discovered that number is low, really low. We pulled police reports and pictures from crash scenes and found the total number of underride crashes could be 3.5 times higher.
So much of these analyses, whether it's cost-benefit analyses or studies that we do, depend on accurate counts of the size of the problem.
That's Matt Brumbelow, an engineer with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. NHTSA only counts crashes if the officer uses the word underride. Taraja's crash report only says he rear-ended the truck. That's why NHTSA has asked states to add a box or a code on their report to make underrides easier to identify. 18 states have done it. Georgia isn't one of them. Brumbelow serves on a committee Congress created to prevent underrides. It recommended trailers be required to install rear guards strong enough to prevent the driver of a car going 35 miles per hour from going under, even if they hit at an angle or off to the side like Taraja.
Depending on where the vertical supports are, if they're not close to the edge and they're not strong enough, then what happens is the end of that horizontal beam can just move out of the way.
Nicholas was my sweet child.
Liz Perkins Carson lost her son in an underride crash. Last September, a jury awarded her and another victim's family $462 million. The truck's rear guard met federal standards, but tests had shown for years there were better models available.
The industry not only ignored the safety issue, but they actually, lobbied against any meaningful regulations that would enhance the safety.
The trucking industry cites the cost to buy and install the bars, as well as the impact on gas mileage when you add weight.
It's almost as necessary as having seat belts. It costs a lot more to include them, but they have saved a lot of lives.
Rebecca Lindstrom, 11Alive News Investigates. Almost as necessary as seatbelts. Powerful words from Taraja's mother. Our next story also focuses on Underride crashes, but this time we take a closer look at the guards that some want to see on the sides of semi-trucks. There is debate between those who want new technology to keep drivers safe and those who say we're moving too fast to push costly ideas. We have all passed those accidents. The ones where the cars are so mangled, you know, it is unlikely anyone survived. A car crashing into the side of a tractor trailer tends to be one of them.
Bumpers, airbags, seatbelt tensioners, they don't work in that kind of a crash because the first point of impact, which would trigger that, is at the windshield.
Marianne Carth lost her two daughters more than a decade ago when a truck hit her car on I-20, sending it into another tractor trailer.
To have all of a sudden to have lost my children and just in the blink of an eye and not be able to say goodbye.
That pain fueled Carth to become a fierce safety advocate. Our sister station in Tampa Bay caught up with her on a rainy day as engineers showed how a tractor trailer side guard could save lives.
Oh, yes! It didn't pass the windshield. You see that?
There's really no chance of injury.
Aaron Kiefer helps recreate accidents, and he says his guard can keep a vehicle, pedestrian, or bike from sliding under.
It's a side impact guard that also ties into the rear of a trailer so that the trailer is guarded around the entire periphery.
The federal government requires a bar on the back of the truck, but when it comes to the sides,
There are currently no regulations at all for side underride guards in the U.S.
Matt Brumbelow, Kiefer, and Carth serve on a committee Congress created to prevent underrides. The majority recommended the federal government mandate side guards too.
This is a very passionate group here in this meeting.
But those on the committee representing the trucking industry don't agree. They argue a good design to protect bicyclists and pedestrians is different than what's needed to stop a car.
There are no side underride guard designs right now that fit the bill.
The added weight could mean less cargo capacity. There are worries about ground clearance as a truck crests a hill and, of course, cost.
When you go and spend a lot of money on one particular solution, that's money that cannot be spent on another solution that may be more effective and save more lives.
And there's a big disagreement over how many lives are impacted by these crashes each year. The federal government estimates that by installing side guards, 17 people would be saved each year. But there are people on the committee who feel that's low, that the federal government didn't calculate that number correctly.
Using an entirely different approach, we came up with a number that was about 10 times as large.
Well, the industry debates what makes financial sense. Carth says she'd pay anything to have her daughters back.
It's a slap in the face when you lose a loved one like this and you learn it's preventable. That makes you very angry and frustrated.
Rebecca Lindstrom, 11Alive News investigates. After the break, parents and caregivers, beware.
When the CPSC recalls a product or issues a unilateral safety warning, those products have often been linked to either a serious injury or a death.
Our consumer investigative reporter Liza Lucas takes a deep dive into the resale of recalled baby items online. What you need to know to keep your little ones safe. That's next. Welcome back. Did you know federal law makes it illegal to sell recalled items? That includes popular must-haves for parents like high chairs and infant swings. But 11Alive consumer investigator Liza Lucas found recalled items still being resold. Where she found these products online may surprise you.
Hi, Mama. Oh, yeah?
The smallest among us.
Stroller, car seat, diapers.
Need a lot of stuff. Maureen Sanchez tries to keep it minimal.
Which then led to me later being like, oh, actually, I think we'd benefit from a swing or something like that. Which then my instinct was to go on Facebook Marketplace. Your instinct isn't like, let me see if it's recalled.
Every week, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, or CPSC, issues recalls for defective or hazardous baby and kids products. Courtney Griffin with the Consumer Federation of America knows the stakes.
When the CPSC recalls a product or issues a unilateral safety warning, those products have often been linked to either a serious injury or a death.
It's illegal to sell recalled products, but 11Alive News Investigates discovered they pop up for resale again and again.
If consumers are unaware that that's going on, that's exposing so many children to potentially dangerous products.
Over the past month, we routinely found recalled baby products across multiple sites, like the Boppy newborn lounger, recalled 3 years ago due to suffocation risk and reports of infant deaths.
I bought this one online for only $24.
In 2024, a CPSC team submitted nearly 40,000 takedown requests for recalled and banned baby items on online platforms.
It's actually pretty challenging at the current state for the U.S. government to hold online marketplaces accountable for the recalled products that are for sale.
Since 2022, the CPSC sent letters to Meta asking the company to help prevent banned and recalled products from ever appearing for sale. In 2023, a bipartisan group of lawmakers contacted Meta and more than a dozen sites, asking about protocols to prevent post-selling recalled items.
Snugga infant swings have been recalled.
And in October, the CPSC again issued an alert after Fisher-Price recalled parts for over 2 million Snugga swings due to suffocation risk. The CPSC urged removing all recalled Snugga swings from stores and online platforms. Yet 5 months later, we found these swings in original condition for sale on sites like Facebook Marketplace. Facebook's owner Meta did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Facebook notes on its website recalled items are prohibited. Platforms like Poshmark and eBay say they have teams and special technology to monitor and remove recalled items. Even then, some products slip by.
I think the most important thing that families can do is don't assume that the products you have access to are safe.
Advocates question whether online marketplaces can do more. Maureen, too, hopes for more systems to protect what's most precious.
Asking parents to take on anything else seems hard. But then at the same time, like as parents, that's our job is to just do what needs to be done to make sure our babies are safe.
Liza Lucas, 11Alive News Investigates.
After the break, Georgia prosecutors sounding the alarm on themselves.
And the truth is the truth. And what I'm telling you is victims are not being served, and public safety as a whole across this state is taking a hit.
Zach Merchant shows us why prosecutors statewide say they are having a harder time holding criminals fully accountable, and the update that could later make a difference. Welcome back to our 11Alive News Investigates special, focused on stories about safety concerns that impact everyone. In a few moments, we're shedding light on Georgia's prosecutor shortage. Zach Merchant first brought viewers the story in March, highlighting the possible tipping point for justice in the criminal court system. One district attorney said victims and the public have already been impacted.
I've never seen it as bad as it is today.
Pete Skandalakis leads the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia. A former district attorney himself, he says the current state funding plan doesn't cover the needs of local prosecutors, making it harder for district attorneys like Wright Barksdale to enforce the law.
If it's not addressed quickly, you're going to see DA's offices start to just fall apart at the seams.
The pay for state-funded assistant district attorneys in Georgia starts at about $60,000, according to Skandalakis. Many counties supplement those funds, but according to him, particularly in circuits outside of major cities, it's often not enough. Statewide, roughly 10% of state-funded assistant district attorney positions were vacant at the end of February, he said.
We are the lowest paid prosecutors in the Southeast.
And even in a circuit where all the state-funded prosecutor and other staff positions are filled, like Barksdale's Okmulgee Judicial Circuit that includes Putnam and Jasper counties southeast of Atlanta, The DA says the budget doesn't cover the manpower needed to handle the caseload. On a recent visit, he assembled all but 2 of his state-paid employees. They're responsible for an 8-county circuit, and they all fit inside a jury box.
Put your hand up if you feel that your office right now is stretched too thin.
Brent Cochran was one of the people with his hand raised.
We just try to do the best we can.
A senior assistant district attorney, he says he's carrying close to 650 cases, ranging from misdemeanors to murders.
This entire table, all of these boxes and 2 additional carts, these are all just the cases that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
One guy.
One guy.
The workload forces prosecutors to triage their caseloads, focusing resources on the most serious crimes at the expense of other cases.
Is what you're talking about. There are situations where your office is going to offer a plea agreement that includes no time behind bars.
Absolutely.
Just to get a nonviolent felony off of your caseload.
Absolutely.
And in other situations, despite a state statute known as Marcy's Law that requires notification, Barksdale says the staffing crunch means sometimes crime victims aren't updated on developments in their case.
Are there times that a victim is not contacted? Yes.
It adds up to a situation, according to Barksdale, that's unsustainable.
There are going to be people who hear you saying all of this, and they're going to think, this is an elected district attorney blowing the whistle on himself.
The truth is the truth. And what I'm telling you is victims are not being served, and public safety as a whole across this state is taking a hit because district attorneys' offices are not properly funded.
A warning sign before a potential crisis in criminal justice. Zach Merchant, 11Alive News investigates.
Since that story first aired, Pete Skandalakis says lawmakers approved a pay raise plan in the state budget for assistant district attorneys and staff. Coming up after the break, we are digging deeper into an investigation that got people's attention in North Georgia after we revealed surprisingly high levels of thyroid cancer in several counties. Finally, 11Alive News investigates traveled back to Northeast Georgia after discovering unusually high rates of thyroid cancer in November last year. Now, Savannah Levins is speaking with lawmakers and dozens of residents demanding help to figure out what is behind this trend.
These neighboring 6 counties have had the highest rates of thyroid cancer for nearly 2 decades. A lot of these families, they're looking for answers.
Through the mountains, winding roads, and close-knit neighborhoods of Northeast Georgia, word spread.
I need to know what's causing this. What do I need to protect my kids against?
Jessica Neal lives in Hall County, one of 6 counties with unusually high thyroid cancer rates over the last 15 years, double the state average or more.
So I kind of took a second to process it.
She's one of 56 thyroid cancer patients from those counties who reached out to 11Alive News Investigates following our initial report.
It's too many. Way too many.
Sabrina Gooch is another.
What's going on in just this area?
We mapped those patients' homes and locations they frequently visited and found some commonalities.
The clusters along the same roads.
Gooch was diagnosed with an aggressive thyroid cancer variant called hobnail.
They just said, well, it has to be environmental. I started thinking, what have I eaten? What am I breathing? What have I done to myself? Through people like you, maybe somebody can find a reason that we're getting it.
We don't want to turn a blind eye to it or pretend like it's not happening. I want to know the cause.
Lee Hawkins is the state representative for a large portion of this area and is the chairman of the health committee.
You brought to me the information. We will study this and we will find if there is an environmental solution or a cause.
But the Department of Natural Resources tells 11Alive the agency, along with DPH, decided not to do a study because there's no known source in Northeast Georgia of radiation, which they say is the only known environmental cause of thyroid cancer.
They have a duty to help with an investigation.
But legislators from the area say they're not giving up.
This is new and news
to a lot of us.
Senators Bo Hatchett and Steve Gooch, Representatives Lee Hawkins, Matt Dubnick, Emery Donahue, and Will Wade, all expressing concern over the data, now joining forces to advocate for and potentially fund research.
Whether it's private business, again, public or private universities who may help from a research standpoint.
These are people that deserve some kind of answer.
All as the dots on our map continue to grow, each representing a story like Jessica's.
You still get scared because you have kids, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, and that's the scary part of it.
A life changed forever like Sabrina's.
I hate that other people have it, but it's a community of people now that can at least collaborate. There is hope, you know.
Savannah Levins, 11Alive News investigates.
11Alive News Investigates is committed to following efforts to figure out what is going on in North Georgia. And as we have new details, we will report them here. Thank you so much for joining 11Alive News Investigates for our special focused on safety concerns in our community. If you have a safety concern in your community or a story you would like to share, just reach out to 11Alive News Investigates by calling 404-873-9111 or email investigates@11alive.com. Thank you so much for joining us.